You are listening to the Finding Her Palette. Book 6 of 7 in the Iron Rule collection. Written by Akumah and voiceover by Sara. Akumah Audiobooks. Chapter 6, The Spark of Recognition. The afterglow of the successful exhibition lingered, fueling Rena's newfound confidence. The conversations with guests, the genuine appreciation for her work, and the sense of connection she had forged were intoxicating. Inspired by the positive response, she delved deeper into her art, exploring themes of identity, belonging, and the complexities of human experience. Her studio became a haven of creativity, filled with canvases that reflected her evolving artistic vision. However, as the initial excitement began to subside, a familiar sense of insecurity crept in. The outside world, with its relentless criticism and judgment, threatened to dim her newfound confidence. She questioned the sustainability of her success, fearing that it was merely a fleeting moment of recognition. The pressure to replicate the magic of her first exhibit loomed large, casting a shadow over her creative process. One afternoon, as Rena stood in front of her easel, brush poised to paint, she felt a wave of doubt wash over her. The colors on her palette blurred together, and she found herself frozen, the vibrant hues losing their allure. Suddenly, the shadows she had fought so hard to banish began to rear their ugly heads once more. Frustrated, Rena threw down her brush and collapsed onto her couch, running her hands through her hair. The flickering spark of recognition felt like it was dimming, and the fear of returning to the dark place she had escaped from threatened to engulf her again. Just when she thought she was ready to embrace the future, she felt the weight of her past pressing down on her once more. That evening, Rena received an unexpected phone call from Claire. "Hey, Rena. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing after the exhibit. You were incredible, and I can't stop thinking about your work." Claire's voice was warm and inviting. "Thanks, Claire," Rena replied, trying to muster enthusiasm despite her inner turmoil. "I'm still riding high from the success, but I'm starting to feel this pressure to keep creating, and I'm worried I won't be able to." Claire paused for a moment before responding. "It's completely normal to feel that way. The excitement of recognition can sometimes feel overwhelming. But remember, art is a journey, not a destination. Don't let the pressure stifle your creativity. Create because you love it, not because you feel you have to." Rena contemplated Claire's words, feeling a flicker of comfort in the advice. "I know you're right, but I can't shake the feeling that this success is temporary. What if I can't live up to the expectations? Then redefine what success means to you," Claire suggested. "What's important is that you continue to express yourself. Explore new ideas, take risks, and let your art evolve. The moment you start creating for anyone other than yourself, you lose the essence of your work." Inspired by Claire's encouragement, Rena immersed herself in her art, embracing the process rather than fixating on the outcome. She experimented with different mediums, finding joy in the exploration of collage, mixed media, and even sculpting. Then, a life-changing email arrived, inviting her to participate in a prestigious art festival. The opportunity was both thrilling and daunting. She yearned for recognition, the chance to share her work with a wider audience. Yet, beneath the excitement lurked a sense of fear and self-doubt. What if her work wasn't good enough? What if she faced harsh criticism? Rena took a moment to pause and reflect. She stepped outside, allowing the fresh air to clear her mind. As she walked through the neighborhood, she recalled her journey, the struggles, the triumphs, and the connections forged through her art. She thought about the night of her exhibit, the way her work had resonated with others, and the support she had received. Those moments filled her with hope and inspiration, reminding her that her art had the power to connect and uplift. When she returned home, she opened the email again. What would Claire say, she wondered. With a deep breath, she hit accept, and felt a wave of relief wash over her. She was taking a step forward, embracing the challenge that lay ahead. Rena approached the festival preparations with renewed vigor and inspiration. She carefully selected her most impactful pieces, including the large canvas that embodied her journey through shadows and light. Each brushstroke was a testament to her growth and resilience, and she was eager to share it with a wider audience. In the weeks leading up to the festival, she immersed herself in her art, creating new pieces that reflected her evolving artistic vision. She experimented with bold colors and dynamic compositions, allowing her creativity to flow freely. With each brushstroke, her self-doubt began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of purpose and excitement. As the festival day approached, Rena's anticipation grew. She envisioned her work displayed in the vibrant atmosphere of the event, surrounded by fellow artists and art enthusiasts. The thought of sharing her journey with others filled her with a sense of fulfillment. On the morning of the festival, Rena arrived early, her heart filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The venue was bustling with activity, artists setting up their booths and displaying their work. As she hung her pieces, each canvas telling a unique story, she felt a sense of pride and anticipation. As the doors opened and guests began to trickle in, Rena stood by her booth, heart pounding. She greeted attendees with a smile, eager to share her story. The festival became a whirlwind of connections and conversations, each interaction fueling her passion. A couple of hours into the event, Rena found herself engaged in a deep discussion with a fellow artist named Lucas. He was an established painter known for his surrealistic work, and Rena admired his unique perspective. As they spoke, Rena shared her journey, the struggles with self-doubt, and the triumph of embracing vulnerability through her art. "Your story is powerful," Lucas said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Art has this incredible ability to reflect our personal journeys. It's what makes it authentic and relatable. Don't ever shy away from sharing that vulnerability, it's what sets you apart as an artist." Rena felt a surge of inspiration at his words. "Thank you, Lucas. It's been a challenging journey, but I've realized that my art is about more than just technique, it's about connection." As the festival continued, Rena found herself surrounded by a community of artists, each sharing their own stories of struggle and triumph. The energy in the air was electric, and Rena felt a sense of belonging she had longed for. But just as she was riding high on the positive energy, a wave of apprehension washed over her. She noticed a small group gathered around her largest canvas, their expressions a mixture of intrigue and confusion. Curiosity piqued, Rena approached them, ready to explain her work. "What do you think?" she asked, a hint of anxiety creeping into her voice. One of the viewers, a well-known art critic named Simon, looked at her with an analytical gaze. "It's interesting," he replied slowly. "The contrast between the dark and light is compelling, but I wonder if you're trying too hard to communicate your struggle. It feels a bit heavy-handed." Rena's heart sank at his words, the familiar shadows of self-doubt creeping back in. "I wanted to depict the complexity of the human experience," she said, trying to maintain her composure. "It's about embracing both the light and dark." Simon raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "That's valid, but it could benefit from more subtlety. Art should invite the viewer to interpret rather than lay everything out so plainly. You might consider that for future pieces." The conversation drifted away, leaving Rena feeling deflated. The spark of recognition she had felt just moments ago flickered, overshadowed by the weight of Simon's critique. Doubt began to creep back in, whispering insidious thoughts that questioned her abilities as an artist. As the day wore on, Rena found herself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The connections she had formed with other artists were uplifting, but the shadow of Simon's criticism hung heavily over her. She wrestled with feelings of inadequacy, questioning if her work truly resonated or if she was merely fooling herself. That evening, as the festival wound down, Rena sat alone in her booth, exhaustion weighing on her shoulders. The conversations had sparked a fire within her, but Simon's words had doused it in cold water. She picked up her phone and texted Lara, feeling the need to share her feelings. "I had a great day, but I just received some tough feedback. I'm feeling really conflicted right now," she typed, her fingers trembling. Lara responded almost instantly, "I'm here for you. Let's talk." "Where are you?" "Still at the festival," Rena replied, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She watched the screen as the 3 dots indicated Lara was typing. The anticipation of her friend's response was a brief distraction from her swirling thoughts. "On my way. Don't leave without me." Lara's enthusiasm came through in her message, a welcome spark amid Rena's doubt. As Rena waited, she reflected on the festival. She had shared her journey with many, each interaction illuminating the power of vulnerability. Yet Simon's criticism gnawed at her, casting a shadow over her achievements. She needed Lara's support to navigate this tumultuous moment. When Lara arrived, she immediately enveloped Rena in a warm hug. "You did it. I heard so many people talking about your pieces." "How do you feel?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Rena forced a smile, but her heart was heavy. "It was amazing, until I got some feedback from a critic. He said my work was too heavy-handed and lacked subtlety." She felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes, a wave of frustration swelling within her. "I don't know, Lara. I thought I was expressing something real, but now I'm questioning everything." Lara took a seat beside her, her expression softening. "Critics are just one perspective, Rena. You have to remember that art is subjective. What resonates with one person may not resonate with another. Your journey is yours to tell, and no one can take that away from you." "I know," Rena sighed, staring at her canvas. "But I wanted to convey the truth of my experience. I wanted people to feel something. What if I failed?" "You didn't fail. You connected with people. That's what matters," Lara insisted, her voice steady. "Art is about authenticity. You've shown that in your work. Don't let one person's opinion define you or your art. Let it fuel your creativity instead. If you feel strongly about what you've created, then own it." As Lara spoke, Rena felt the flicker of doubt begin to wane, replaced by a renewed sense of determination. "You're right. I can't let fear dictate my voice. My experiences, my emotions, those are valid. They deserve to be shared." "Exactly," Lara exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. "Think of all the people you've inspired. Your art has the power to change perspectives, to invite others into your world. Don't lose sight of that." Rena took a deep breath, the tension in her chest easing slightly. "Thank you for reminding me. I think I needed to hear that." They spent the next hour discussing Rena's work, her future projects, and the themes she wanted to explore. Lara's encouragement reignited the spark within Rena, and she began to visualize the next chapter of her artistic journey. That night, as Rena lay in bed, her mind buzzed with ideas. She thought about the festival, the connections she had forged, and the different perspectives she had encountered. While Simon's critique had initially felt like a setback, it also offered an opportunity for growth. She realized that feedback, whether positive or negative, could help her refine her voice and enhance her work. With renewed determination, Rena decided to turn the criticisms into motivation. She picked up her sketchbook and began to jot down ideas for her next series. Each concept flowed effortlessly as she explored themes of light and dark, connection and disconnection, identity and acceptance. One idea stood out, a series of pieces that invited viewers to engage with her work on a deeper level, to reflect on their own experiences. She envisioned incorporating interactive elements, encouraging people to share their thoughts and feelings about the art. The idea felt exhilarating, a way to create a dialogue rather than merely display her work. In the days that followed, Rena immersed herself in her new vision. She began creating pieces that were both visually striking and emotionally resonant, blending different mediums and inviting collaboration from others. The process felt liberating, and the doubts that had threatened to suffocate her began to dissipate. As the weeks passed, Rena's confidence blossomed. She reached out to fellow artists and friends, inviting them to contribute to her interactive series. The response was overwhelmingly positive, each person eager to share their experiences and perspectives. The collaborative nature of the project breathed new life into her work and reinforced the idea that art was not just a solitary pursuit, it was a shared journey of connection. When the time came for the exhibition of her new series, Rena felt a sense of purpose and excitement coursing through her veins. The interactive elements of the exhibit were a resounding success. Guests engaged with the art, sharing their reflections and emotions, creating a beautiful tapestry of experiences woven together by vulnerability and authenticity. During the opening night, Rena found herself standing in front of her pieces, surrounded by a vibrant crowd. As people moved through the exhibit, she overheard snippets of conversations that filled her with joy. Laughter, tears, and reflections filled the air, and Rena realized that her art had become a conduit for connection. One guest, a young woman named Emma, approached Rena, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Your work is incredible. It made me realize that I'm not alone in my struggles." "Thank you for sharing your story," she said, her voice trembling. Rena felt a lump in her throat as she nodded, overwhelmed by the impact her art had on others. "Thank you for sharing that with me. It means everything to know my work resonated with you." As the night progressed, Rena engaged with guests, exchanging stories and witnessing the power of her art to inspire others. The fear that had once threatened to engulf her transformed into a profound sense of fulfillment. She felt seen, understood, and connected to a community that celebrated vulnerability and authenticity. By the end of the evening, Rena stood in the gallery, surrounded by friends and fellow artists. Lara and Claire joined her, their faces beaming with pride. "You did it, Rena," Claire exclaimed, pulling her into a tight embrace. "This is amazing." "You created something truly special," Lara added, her eyes shining with admiration. "Your journey has inspired so many." Rena beamed, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without your support. Thank you for believing in me, even when I doubted myself." As they celebrated together, Rena felt the weight of self-doubt dissipate, replaced by a newfound sense of confidence and belonging. She realized that the shadows she had battled were no longer something to fear, instead, they were an integral part of her journey, adding depth and richness to her art. In that moment, Rena understood that recognition didn't come solely from accolades or external validation, it came from embracing her truth, connecting with others, and allowing her art to be a reflection of her authentic self. She had transformed her struggles into a source of inspiration, and that, she realized, was the true essence of being an artist. As she looked around the gallery, watching people connect with her work, Rena felt a spark of recognition igniting within her once more. This was just the beginning, a new chapter in her journey, and she was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Akumah Audiobooks. You have reached to the end of the chapter. Click next and continue listening to Akumah Audiobooks. This story consists total of 7 chapters, as such 7 videos. Refer to channel playlist for better experience and sequence. Subscribe.